Freeney is truly just an incredible story from start to finish. He's played 14 years in the National Football League. That's just a feat in itself. Also, he has his own move named after him. I mean, when you were a little kid, you were taught not to spin. This guy spins, and it's a move that will define him, and he will for sure be a future Hall of Famer. Now, recently, he invited us to his home, his apartments, so-called, out there in Tempe, and we got a chance to really get to know him, who the man under the helmet is. And he talks about being the old guy on the team, how football started, where he learned the spin move, and then, of course, an incident that almost killed him.
Did they give you any old man jokes in the locker room?
The old man jokes never stop. Just never stop. I remember being that young guy. I remember being the young guy who used to crack jokes about the old guys who used to spend 30 minutes stretching and getting ready for practice, 40 minutes for practice.
Now that's you.
Now that's me. So that's a lot of the jokes come on. Gerard Powers, I played with Gerard in Indy. He's endless with his jokes about me stretching.
I had one guy tell me one time, it's an honor to be called that old man, right?
Absolutely. I mean, think about it. The average career is 3 years, and I'm on 14. So, to be able to play this long at this type of, volume and level for that long, I must have did something right.
I was real active when I was young, and I loved playing sports. Every day I would play a sport.
Growing up right outside of Hartford, Connecticut, Dwight Freeney was a natural four-star athlete at Bloomfield High School. But football wasn't in the picture until one day during a soccer game. Yes, Freeney was a save machine in goal.
I had one of those games, had 36 saves. Amazing, right? But the score was still 6-0. And they shot 40. He shot 42 times on me. But, my coach at the time benched me. Now, this is the first time I've ever been benched. I couldn't understand that. I said, Coach, we have no defense. That's all we have. He's like, well, he benched me. Well, my football coach happened to be there. So he pulls me aside. Hey, son. He's like, hey, let's play a real game. One of those lines. He's like, I won't bench you. Just come out and try football. And that was history there.
That decision worked out pretty well. Freeney went on to set the state record in sacks and led Bloomfield High to a state championship his senior season. But it was during his time on the basketball court where he developed that signature spin move.
Is basketball where the spin move started?
Actually did. And it was funny because every time I play basketball, I get called for traveling all the time. I get the ball in the post, I do my spin move, travel. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, they get away with that now in the NBA. I'm just saying.
No, they take like 5, 6 steps. I'll be perfect in this league. I always get called for traveling, so there's no traveling in football.
Freeney didn't travel far for college football. He went on to play at Syracuse. Everything was going great until a game against Virginia Tech his junior season.
It was against Michael Vick. I had 4.5 sacks that game. Okay? After the game, 2 days after, I guess I ruptured my spleen. Didn't know it. We did all types of different tests. I was walking around. They put me in a quarantine. They actually took me out of school, put me I was at home with a fever of 104, 105 for about like 10 to 14 straight days of a fever. I was basically on my deathbed in a sense. It was bad. My mother brought, a preacher to the house praying over me. It was a real big deal. Didn't know what was going on.
Doctors didn't know either for weeks, and during that time, they were giving him penicillin, which was making the infection worse.
I didn't know I was allergic at the time. No one knew. Okay, so they were giving me penicillin to fight off some type of virus that I didn't really have, all right, because I was really bleeding internally from this spleen.
That could have killed you.
Absolutely. No one knew it was wrong, and when you go home and you lie in your bed and you got the preacher over you, and and my mother is holding hands around people around the bed, and I'm just looking up like, is this it? It was a big deal.
Freeney missed the rest of his junior season, losing over 40 pounds of muscle, but returned the following year for his senior season better than ever. Then he went on to become a first-round pick, and 14 years later, he's still playing.
I used to complain about, why do we have to wake up so early? Why do we have to do this? Now it's a blessing. To be able to do that, and you don't really realize that until you go through something that bad to realize, look, this is, regardless of how tough you think it is, you know, you could be doing something else right now that you don't want to be doing.
He's carried that appreciation for life since his senior year in college, and you can definitely see it out on the football field. You know, Dwight Freeney will be going into year 15 next year if he decides to continue to play. And I asked him about that. He says, you know what, as long as I'm enjoying it, as long as I can still play at that high level, I'm going to keep on playing. As for his contributions with the Cardinals, he says he loves it here. He believes this team has what it takes to win a Super Bowl, Coop. And he is just excited to be here in Arizona. Coop, I don't know if you noticed this, but they've started to turn the lights off on us here. But guess what? We're not going anywhere. We got plenty more Cardinal coverage to come. I went one-on-one with Calais Campbell, Frosty Rucker, Patrick Peterson, Gerard